The mother-in-law was diagnosed with liver disease. Her daughter-in-law voluntarily donated part of her own liver to save her life. But after the surgery, Yuka's bedside was completely empty. Her husband and his sister spent all their time at his mother's side. He only came to see Yuka at night, and only because he wanted to sleep with her. He didn't care at all that her surgical wound hadn't healed yet. Yuka was in unbearable pain and had no choice but to turn him down. On the day she was discharged, her husband claimed he was too busy with work to pick her up. She had to drag her heavy luggage home all by herself. Her wound still hadn't fully healed, and she was constantly in pain. Even so, she prepared a full dinner and waited for her husband to come home from work. But it wasn't her husband who showed up. It was her mother-in-law and sister-in-law. They brought divorce papers and demanded she sign them because she had refused to have sex with her husband. Yuka desperately tried to explain that her wound hadn't healed yet. She wanted to explain this to her husband in person, but her mother-in-law said Kosi had left for a business trip to America. Just like that, Yuka found herself agreeing to the divorce in a daze. Heartbroken, Yuka wanted to explain everything to her mother-in-law, hoping they would reverse the divorce. She went to their house in the pouring rain, but through the door, she heard something shocking.
まさか自分が肝臓移植するためだけの道具だったなんて思ってもないんだろうな。道具？
あの子純粋すぎるのよ。
She saw a third woman. Then she heard a baby crying. It turned out this woman holding the baby was Kosei's real wife. They had only gotten close to Yuka because they needed her liver for his mother.
どういうことですか？なんでここにいるのよ。不法侵入よ。私を騙してたってことですか？
騙すなんてそんな。ねえ。
あなたは初めまして中村康生の妻です。
Yuka was speechless with shock. She couldn't believe she had fallen into such an elaborate lie. She tried calling Kosei to confirm the truth, but he wouldn't pick up. A year earlier, Yuka's mother had been dying of cancer. While drowning in grief, Yuka met Kosei. They quickly fell in love. On the day her mother passed, Kosei promised to take care of Yuka for the rest of her life. Her mother passed away peacefully after hearing this. Yuka thought she had finally found her soulmate, but shortly after their wedding, his mother was hospitalized with liver disease and urgently needed a transplant. Yuka had just lost her own mother and was still raw with grief. She volunteered to donate part of her liver. It seemed like a perfect match between her liver and her mother-in-law's. But the truth was, Kosei had already done his research on her beforehand. Yuka sacrificed her health to save his mother. Now she was being thrown away like garbage. To make things worse, after the divorce, she discovered she was pregnant. She chose to keep the baby and raise it alone. When she couldn't afford rent anymore, her landlord kicked her out. At the lowest point of her life, she met someone who would change everything. A flower shop owner took them in. They lived in the shop while Yuka worked hard every day to repay her kindness. 5 years passed quickly. Yuka had finally emerged from the darkness of her past and started a new chapter with her son. Then one day, her son was nearly hit by a car. The woman who stepped out was Kosei's wife, and right behind her came Kosei himself. Standing before the woman who had saved his mother's life, Kosei didn't say a single word of thanks. All he cared about was whether his car was damaged. For 5 years, Yuka had never been able to make sense of what happened. She wanted to ask Kosei one question to his face. Was she ever anything more than a tool to him?
本当だったの？私との結婚は